Well, good day, everybody. This is Dennis Wolfman, the Active Trend Trader. I want to welcome you to today's session, excuse me, of On the Radar. Live market updates every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, about 1 p.m. Pacific time, unless we have some technical difficulties, which we had a little bit of that today, but everything is back online and functioning properly. If you're joining us on Instagram, welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. We will be taking any questions. If you have a stock you want us to take a look at, just type it in the comments section. Okay, so let's go ahead and get going. Going to jump right over immediately into taking a look at what's happening with the S&P. We utilize the spiders as our proxy for the S&P. As you know, that is the non-leveraged ETF for the S&P. And what we're showing is that basically we continue to butt our head right up against what the Fibonacci extension that we hit a week and a half ago. So it's having a hard time breaking through those areas. And it may, at this point, if we are unable to break through that Fibonacci right there, if we are, right now, that is causing a level of, sorry about that. Right there, that level right there, just above the, around the 418 level, is where we are hitting up against resistance, and things are stopping dead in the water. What are we expecting if we, in fact, do a turnaround here? Well, anticipate a potential pullback. It could fall as far as all the way back into the magic fib box, the 38% retracement down to the 618, so in that area, or we may only drop down here to the 23-day moving average. As we noted last week, what we're looking at is when we basically get a horizontal flag, such as what we're having right now, between a fairly well-defined level of, right now, support at the 410 level, resistance up at the 418 level. We'll anticipate a pullback into about the 410, 411 level. Now, that is a $6, $7 move. And so one, if they are nimble and quick, can take a downside trade on that once we get a signal. What kind of a candlestick signal do we have today? Well, that is we had a spinning top yesterday. We have a hanging man type of candlestick today. But as you can see, that is a very small range on the day's candlestick. What's happening with the one of the things I'm also interested in is what is going on with the TSI. Is the True Strength Index crossing up to the upside? It looks like it is. At the same time, though, what we may be getting is just a negative divergence squeeze that isn't crossing up. That is oftentimes a predicate or it precedes a deeper pullback. Again, we can pull back, work off the continue to work off the overbought condition. This drops down a little bit. There's a couple of places, just a heads up, there's a couple of places on the TSI, and I use the 883 exponential. And there's a couple of places where you want to look for potential support. One is about halfway in between the 42, and if you don't have this where you can put on a positive 42 and a negative 42, just use the 50. That's close enough. So halfway in between that, and then also a level of support that tends to be around the 0 line. And that is areas where when the TSI gets into those areas, I start looking at the candlesticks to see if, in fact, or the price action, to see if I'm getting any type of reversal signal on the price action. Right now, we have like I said, a hanging man, small hanging man, which is basically a bearish indication. So slightly down for today. Mixed market day, actually. The Qs, what are we looking at with the Qs? This is kind of interesting. Qs, similar type situation. Now, on the Qs, though, what do we have going on? We've got another bearish reversal signal, but this is not quite a bearish engulfing, so they call this a dark cloud, where today's large red candlestick encompassed more than half of yesterday's price action or body of yesterday's candlestick. PSI, again, looked like it was going to cross at the beginning of the week, and on Friday, now it's showing a little bit of weakness. I am looking for an anticipated pullback, so I can actually trade the Qs and the TQQ on this. The pullback is going to have to be down where? Down towards that lower level. I'm looking at the, I want something to go down and repeat. You pull back into that area there. What does that look like? Just while we're here, let's take a look at that on the weekly chart. What does that look like on a weekly chart? And the weekly chart says, there we go. Last week, our weekly chart was indicating that that's where we came down to. It was the 23% retracement of the price action. Had a bearish Harami in last week's candlestick and also a hanging man. So it would not surprise me to see if we're going to push sideways here. Look for an opportunity about the $33 level. There's no need to try to, over anticipate or just jump onto a trade to the upside just because we think the NASDAQ or the rally is going to continue. Let the price action come to you. One of the things that I like to help our people, the active trend traders, to realize is learn how to buy at wholesale so that you can sell at retail. One of the a lot of people don't apply that to when they're buying stocks and or ETFs. But the fact of the matter is it applies to options, it applies to stocks. Learn, let your system teach you how to buy at wholesale and then sell at retail. If you want more information about that, just drop me a note down in the comments and or go on over and if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a note down in the comments and I'll be glad to respond to that. And also, if you want us to take a look at a particular stock, let us know what the ticker on that is also. So moving back, so price action, yeah. Again, a dark cloud on the Qs. What about IWM? IWM is IWM basically is the only index that was up for the day, and we pushed up to a little bit higher high, which is that's great, but we are starting to approach a level of past resistance. Now, what does that mean? Or some people call this overhead supply, and it's where people came in and bought it previously and then had the rug yerked out from underneath them, and the price action fell down as we see here. So there's a pocket of sellers up here, and until that pocket of sellers is depleted, price action will have a struggle pushing on up higher. One of the things to remember that we have going on here that we need to be aware of is, of course, that we have a higher low and now we have a higher high. So in the short term, we are working on an uptrend, but I am not going to buy here. I'd want to see a pullback into the moving averages, or a pull either back in the moving averages or back into this level here. Where is that level? This is where I love to use Fibonacci's. The Fibonacci's are going to tell us approximately how deep that pullback is. I'll bet you that is 38%, maybe a little bit. maybe the 20. Bingo, right there. Okay. We highlighted that past level of support, and there's the 23% retracement right there. So that makes an idea. Now, one of the things, here's a little trick of the trade you can take, is put an alert slightly above that 23% retracement, and also slightly above the 38% retracement, and make it 50 cents, $1 or so above it. So that way you'll get a warning saying, the price actions are approaching those levels, so that then I can go in. If I have the luxury of being able to look at my charts, during the intraday or during the last half hour of the day, I can go in and relook and say, aha, things going on, and let's see if I have a reversal signal. That's one little trick you can learn to enable you to get into trades more quickly. So that's what we've got going on. Yep. And so again, right, the support level is right about the 23% retracement. Now we've got a lot. So what action, here, let me answer the rest of the question. What action are we taking on IWM? None right now. What is I've been watching, price action has been kind of slicing up and down through the 8, 20, 34, and even the 50-day moving average. And so, when you get a market that is doing that, you want to look for horizontal support that is defined by past lows. So we have a good one right there about the 219 level. We also have a high here that was broken out about the 225 level. Got a gap up window there, and that body of that candlestick right there, the body is at 221.58. So that's another area. Put in an alert right there, and then let the when the price action hits that level, put in an alert. But down through, so it'll be at low. I like to have sound effects on time, so that way I'm away from the. I don't watch the computer all day, but I have it running in the background. So let's say, I want it to be something to get my attention like this. Of course, you can't hear that. Why? Try that again. There you go. I put in a sound effect. There we go. Hello. My sound effect in this case will be the dive sound effect, and it sounds like this. There you go. And I just have, one of the things when you're trading, you need to be able to have some fun while you're trading. And that's one of the little nuances that I put in, just to have some fun. Hear it go off, and then I trigger in to see what's going on with the individual trade itself. So that's one of the things. So let's go down to the other thing I wanted to cover really quickly is I want to jump down here to take a look at Mara. Has earnings coming up about a month from now, and as you can see, it was down about 2 cents for today. So the cryptos stocks are looking kind of interesting. Just be aware, it is below the moving averages, so that's a negative sign. It's got distance up at the $36 level, so it may hang right here and then bounce up through that. We do have a TSI cross up to the upside, lower volume today. So Mara, I'm taking a look at. If we get a bid going into earnings, when is earnings? I think it's around the 25th of March. Look at that. It is coming up on the 13th of May. The other one I'm taking a look at, of course, is RIOT. We actually got into RIOT on a pretty good trade last week, almost at the absolute low and or midway up that candlestick right there. And also RIOT has earnings coming up, at least identified as coming up on the, there we go, the 6th of May. And so that's another one that I'm keeping my eye on. It too, it got some support there. Isn't it interesting that the actual patterns look almost identical? However, it's got to beat its way back through these moving averages that right now are serving as resistance. So we need to get a close above the 8, and then it lines up the other moving averages. And here's another little trade tip you can take, you can use, is when moving averages are starting to slope down like this, or even slope up, price action is they tend to act as a catcher of price action. So price will move up into that level and then oftentimes reverse down. That's another great place to go ahead and put in alerts. And then once the alert triggers off, now on this, since it's sloping down, I want to put the alert where the moving average might be, like tomorrow, and it's sloping down. So the moving average might be at about 44.33. Right now it's at 40 change. Then the day after that, if it maintains a straight line, it's going to be down about 43. So that's just a little trick you can do of learning how to place your alerts. So then we've got, let's see, you have to remember, I have earnings coming up on a lot of different entities today. One of the big ones, of course, is Microsoft. Reported today. Tomorrow. And the reason we want to be taking a look at what's going on with things like Microsoft, we need to be aware of what's going on with things like Microsoft. Yep, it's after hours today. So actually, it actually looks like it beat earnings. Price action had moved up to new highs on Microsoft. And as you can see, so we're making some newer highs of late. Roll over to the last thing to check out on this is just if you want to have an idea on what's going on with the market in the morning, is go ahead and just turn on your after hour hours. I want to be aware of after hours because what that'll show me is it will tell me exactly what's going on with the perhaps pre-market. Okay, well, right now as we're looking, that's a pretty good sized drop on Microsoft. And so that may impact what happens tomorrow morning with the indexes. We'll keep our eye on that. And I'll usually put up a little bit of a video first thing in the morning, post it to Instagram and also over to Facebook, just to say, hey, here's what we're seeing. So we may have an opportunity to do that. So that's what I've got today. Looks like Microsoft is taking in the shorts after earnings, and I'll be taking a look through the rest of the evening. If you're one of our premium members, I'll be looking if we have anything else that we want to be trading. Right now, things are looking pretty good. We've got our stops in places, and we're on autopilot right now. We've got our conditional orders in place, and so that basically is it. And so until tomorrow, I'll say aloha. There's that answer. Aloha. And God bless everybody. See ya.